In this lesson, we'll review an inference question from a social science reading passage. There will be one social science passage out of the 5 on the SAT reading, and this will involve people's behavior. This passage is about how Americans who live in large cities are spending more time in traffic. There's more congestion, and it's taking away time from their work week and their productivity. This passage most strongly suggests that the researchers at the Martin Prosperity Institute share which assumption. So anytime you see the word suggest, that means that something is implied. This is an inference. And so whenever you see an inference question, you'll never find the language in the text. You really have to glean the unstated assumption. And we're also given specifically the assumption of the Martin Prosperity Institute. So here we can just focus where we see this term, Martin Prosperity Institute, and then try to gauge their assumption. But let's read a little bit above it for context. Again, this is about how workers are spending more and more time commuting, and it's taking away time from their work week. Across the country, commuting wastes 4.2 billion hours of work time annually, nearly a full work week for each commuter. The overall cost of the U.S. economy is nearly $90 billion when lost productivity and wasted fuel are taken into account. At the Martin Prosperity Institute, we calculate that every minute shaved off America's commuting time is worth $19.5 billion in value added to the economy. And so you could almost predict this assumption here. It's stating that at this institute, every minute shaved off is adding value to the economy. But the assumption here is that there's going to be time saved. What are they doing with that time? Let's take a look at the choices. Employees who work from home are more valuable to their employers than employees who commute. Again, this has nothing to do with what we just read here, this assumption. And so I always recommend just focusing on the relevant sense. You might read a little bit above like we did for context, but even if this was stated elsewhere in the passage, this is not an assumption. It's only stating that employees who save time will add value to the economy. So there's no evidence of that to make that type of assumption. Employees whose commutes are shortened will use the time saved to do additional productive work for the employers. This is pretty much what I think you can predict once you practice these. Again, the Institute's making the claim that when Americans save time, it's adding value. But that's assuming that they're going to work. Because if they were saving time and then just watching TV, that's not going to add value. That's assuming that they're going to spend that additional time to work for their employees. This definitely looks like the assumption. Let's take a look at other choices. Employees can conduct business activities such as composing memos or joining conference calls while commuting. Again, this is only stating that's what they're going to do if they save time. So that is not on point. Employees who have lengthy commutes tend to make more money than employees who have shorter commutes. Again, just a total red herring. It's nowhere close. If you practice these, I really think you can start predicting them. This is an inference question. It's unstated, but it's based on the assumption that the time saved, that these employees will use that for additional productive work for their employers. The answer here is B.